I was on the wrong profile.
Damn it.
Welcome back to the Nerdcore Podcast, the podcast of reviews movies that talks that nerd shit. This is episode 533, and it is your review of The Beaches of Agnès as we commence our month looking at the films of Agnès Varda. Um, yeah, what a way to start the show, right, Brad?
I mean, hey, they're coming for what is here, so might as well give a little taste early before we even start the show.
yeah, yeah, just oh god. As always, this is Nerd Connor here to host the show alongside my wonderful co-host, Young Yoda.
Sup, everybody? Welcome to a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Monday. Starting my vacation. I am good to go.
Brad's like, fuck it, I'm in the mood to do more podcasts tonight.
More podcasts. Throw me the podcast. I'm about to go tomorrow. I'm going to watch a film for Thursday's review.
Yep. Yep. Oh man. Yeah. Today was at work. That's all I did, Brad. What did you do today on your first day of vacation?
So I actually went into work this morning.
Oh,
so
fuck.
I literally went into work this morning at but I told my boss, I'm like, I ain't coming in at my regular time. I ain't coming in at 6. I'll be there when I get there. I got there about 8:30. So I slept in a little bit. Did what I needed to do. Got there at 8:30. Finished what I needed to finish by noon. Go scoop Brenda up, and we went to lunch. So good start to the vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Like a good
Went to
time.
Target. I had to go get my nephew a birthday gift. What I get? So he loves the Incredible Hulk. Like, kid absolutely loves. He's got tons of shit Hulk figures. So I'm in there, and he likes Knuckles, like from Sonic the Hedgehog. Kid's
Yeah.
got taste. Can't blame him there. Kid's got taste. So I'm in this fucking store. We were in the store for like an hour, and I'm looking for anything with fucking Knuckles on it. It's like all Sonic shit. You got
Yeah.
Tails stupid ass. I'm like, nah, we ain't playing with that. Finally found these two little figures, but the kid's turning 3, so like they don't do anything. And I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? So we're looking. All right. I'm like, all right, what's the next best option? Kid likes dinosaurs. There's this Play-Doh set, and there's this dinosaur, and you feed the dinosaur the Play-Doh. Dinosaur makes noises, he burps, but then the best part of this fucking thing, this thing shits out Play-Doh. Like, it literally goes through the dinosaur, it shits out Play-Doh. It's like the best fucking thing. I don't know if it farts or not, but I'm hoping.
Yeah,
so
Brad.
basically, I just buy shit I would like at like 36 years old. So I'm like dinosaur burping and shitting. I'm like, fuck yeah.
This kid's gonna love this shit. Yeah. So that's how Brad's day went. What the
But
fuck?
they had nothing on Incredible Hulk. Fucking nothing.
No.
I mean,
No Knuckles.
They didn't have Knuckles. Like so. I go to the video game thing, and they have all the plushies and shit. So they got this giant Sonic head, like fucking like big as my head, like the plushie one.
Yeah.
And I go over there and like, there's no Knuckles. Like, how are you gonna do that? Like, Knuckles is like just as popular as Sonic. Like, I love Knuckles also. So that's flying, grabbing onto a wall. Fuck yeah, I'm all about that life. And there's no Shadow. You never see fucking Shadow anywhere.
No, of course they're never gonna have fucking Shadow, bro. Yeah, that motherfucker's a menace.
You see fucking Tails everywhere, and you're like, fuck. Like, I know he was on the cartoon. They were all eating like fucking hot dogs and corn dogs or chili dogs. But at the same time, Tails is stupid. Like, nobody likes Tails. Fuck Tails.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, that's Brad's day. I went to work. I edited my video for Wednesday. I came home. Finished this movie. That's it. Oh, I played Overwatch with Keon.
Oh, did you finally get to that? You were supposed to do that last night.
Yeah, I was supposed to, but I played Overwatch with Keon.
How, have, how long has it been since you actually played Overwatch?
I have never played Overwatch.
You never
I
played.
played
Okay, so this had to
Paladin.
be okay. So this had to be a whole fucking different. Because like
Yeah,
I've played Overwatch a few times, and even I'm going, this is too much. This is too
yeah.
much for me. Whatever the fuck's going on.
I'm not gonna lie, shit's kind of fun though.
Yeah, no diss there. But to me, there's just like
It's not
again, it
Call of
comes to
Duty.
why do I play video games? I don't play video games to stress about any of that shit. About getting shot like 20,000 times and dying 20,000 times. Like I'm not into that. I'm not
Yeah,
very much a PvP player. I'd rather be in an RPG, just wandering the fuck around, buying bread from stores and shit.
yeah.
Um, but to each their own. Like I get it. I get why people
The
play it.
appeal.
Yeah, especially if you're good at it. I'm not good
Oh
at it,
yeah.
so I'd rather just do a whole story based game that just like is a side scroller.
I mean, I think we both know that we're not good at video games.
No, I
No.
mean we're probably entertaining though. We'd be
Yeah,
entertaining at it if we actually decided to like focus on that, but we don't want to focus
yeah,
on that because we like movies and television
yeah,
and wrestling at this juncture.
yeah. So, I'm gonna go ahead and what's it called? Get ready, y'all, because this month we are covering the films of the French New Wave director and who, well, honestly, was the creator of the French New Wave, but she didn't get her props. They didn't give her props.
No, because male dominated
Yeah,
cinema.
yeah.
That's what it is.
So it wasn't until way later that people really started to appreciate the films of Agnès Varda and what she did for cinema. But what's it called? This was the one who run the many wheels, the many names on the wheel. Um, and to be fair, I'm kind of glad because this is a who doesn't want to talk about this little old lady, bro? This little lady just
Yeah, this is
adorable
I
little old lady.
yeah, I mean, and it's different. It's a name like I'm not familiar with at all.
Yeah. I've only seen two films.
I'm not real like I know like what Godard from French New Wave, and that's about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah. I've only ever seen two films from Agnès Varda. One of them I watched in class, and one of them I watched on my own. I have seen Cleo from 527, which is an incredible film. We will not be talking about that film this month, though. And I've seen Vagabond, which we have not talked about on the podcast, and we're not talking about this month. But today we're going to be starting off with one of her later works, her really later works, The Beaches of Agnès. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to introduce this to y'all. So I don't know how the hell I do a spoiler warning for this because it's a documentary. So
I
it's like,
mean, like if you don't know this lady
yeah,
and you want to watch this movie to learn more about this lady, then don't listen to us. But if you do want to listen to this lady without watching the movie, then listen to us.
yeah, that's
I guess
that's kind of
the
how it
best I
goes,
can
right?
do.
It's kind of
Because
how
it's
it
literally a
goes.
documentary about this lady,
Yep.
this female director. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God, Brad. All right. Well, that the spoiler warning is in effect in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. I have no idea how you spoiled this, but whatever. So the Beaches of Agnès. I do not know. I do not know how to say that in French. I'm sorry, y'all. Is a 2008 French documentary film written, directed, produced, and starring Agnès Varda. The film is an autobiographical essay where Varda revisits places from her past, reminisces about life, and celebrates her 80th birthday on camera. Varda said it will most likely be her last film, but released the Oscar nominated documentary Faces Places a decade later. And then after that, she would release her final film, posthumously, Varda by Agnès, in 2019. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. It's a damn shame that that's all I got here.
I mean, but it is literally a documentary about her
Yeah,
reminiscing through her
yeah,
life. And what a
yeah,
hell of a life, Jesus.
yeah. At nearly 80, Agnès Varda explores her memory growing up in Belgium, living in Set, Paris, and Noirmoutier discovering photography, making a film, being part of the new wave, raising children with Jacques Demy, losing him, and growing old. She explores her memory using photographs, film clips, home movies, contemporary interviews, and set pieces she designs to capture a feeling, a time, or a frame. Shining through each scene are her impish charm, inventiveness, and natural empathy. How do people grow old? How does loss stay with them? Can they remain creative? And what do they remember? Memory, she says, is like a swarm of confused files. She envisages hers for us. Thank you, Jay Haley at hotmail.com for that. That's a pretty damn good, yeah.
Stacy with the new picture says,
Mhm.
"Spoilers: nearly half the world's population gets dusted by Thanos."
Yeah, yeah,
It's
pretty
true.
much, pretty
Yep.
much, yeah. Oh my god. Um, so let's go ahead and open this one, Brad. Um, you want to go first? You want me to go
Yeah. Let me
first?
let me
Yeah,
let me
just your
try and
first
figure out
introduction.
how to like start this off with. I want to just say, the French and their art, they take it very seriously. And this lady had a whole freaking production crew just to like put mirrors up on this damn beach. But like it's a very interesting, like it's one of the more interesting documentaries I've seen because most documentaries it's like they're telling like beginning, middle, and it's got like kind of a flow to it. And Agnes is just kind of like all over the place. We're with her and she's talking about her, raising kids, her husband. Next thing you know, we're in 1940s, freaking France, and the Germans are coming in, and she's on a boat, and they're sailing the fuck out of there, driving the fuck out of Paris, and it just a whole lot. And you're like, oh my god, this lady's lived like
Forever.
10 lives
Yeah.
at this point. And not only that, then you step into her artistic part of it, and she goes in and talks about like the people she's filmed with, putting flowers even at like for their memories. And it's overall I mean, I wasn't expecting like when you kind of read up on what this is, it's just like an 80-year-old lady talking about her life. You don't expect it to be, as good as this is, because it's very well done in a different way than most documentaries.
Yeah. So I have seen, like I said, I've seen two films. I've seen the film that put her on the map, and I watched her, what's it called? One of her like documentaries. It's so hard to kind of put on paper like what is documentary and what is narrative to her. In a way, it's kind of like um fucking Kiarostami at times. Like Kiarostami really does blend that line a bit because like some of his movies kind of are documentary in a way, but some of them are not. But Vagabond is one of those where it's like it feels documentary-ish, but about it's a narrative film. It's about a vagabond. Like
Well, and I think that line gets like really blurred, at least from the way she spoke on some of her films, like the one she did for Demi, her husband, before he passed away. She's literally taking like scenes either out of his movies that he did or like out of his life, and like the way he filmed stuff and just putting it into her
yeah,
movie. So it's like a blend of like documentary and, like you said, like narrative. Like what is what, and it's really kind of exciting to see because it's very different from the norm.
yeah. Also, just of course, how can you deny this? Like
Yeah,
this
like
was
the
beautiful.
potato, and then not only that, like that's yeah. How many pounds of potatoes did they say?
110 pounds of potatoes.
Yeah, and then she had like pictures of potatoes. She was in a potato suit, and then
Yeah,
when she wasn't in the suit, she literally had like a mannequin with her head on it, picture of
yeah,
her face or a cat, whatever.
yeah.
And that just tells me like, well, that's very French. Makes sense.
Yeah, you know. So, I love this movie. Varda has a way of just kind of like speaking about her life that is so beautifully poetic in a way that only her, only she can like, tell it to us. And the way that she goes about it is really just, it's like, it's odd because it's like you never know where you are in the story, but she has a way of saying like, this is kind of like what it is to like recount life as an 80-year-old woman.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like,
she can't she can't
Yeah,
necessarily like her memory isn't the best anymore, and so she
yeah,
just jumps from one to one to one, and I mean that makes sense. And
yeah,
it's really cool to see like the way the mind is of an 80-year-old woman in actual film and how it just jumps around.
yeah. Um, of course, I have never seen a film from Jacques Demy. It took me a long while for me to actually find out that they were actually married, and um, what's it called? Just that those parts of the documentary are the
And
parts that kind of felt the more raw, and like you could feel like Varda was kind of like when she was speaking, like you could tell that she was kind of starting to get a little like choked up there, and
well,
how like
and probably like he was a major part of her life. Like she literally went to the States with him because he got a major motion picture deal.
mm-hmm,
And then he also she had already had a child before this, and he helped raise that child. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, you can definitely tell when she's speaking on Demi. Like the other one, she like mentions and she kind of remembering and has little heartfelt moments there. But with Demi, it's like total like you can tell she's about to be in tears just
oh
remembering
yeah.
him.
And it's just I that's one of the parts that I just love that this is so raw, so personal, and it's like she keeps kind of like blur like and when I think still like I'm sorry, like I'm kind of going over the place with this, but like the part that like surprises me the most is the fucking ending. Every one of her films constructed into that house, like all those reels of film of her movies construct that one house, and I'm like,
Was that every one of her films? I thought that was just one film.
I think that was one film or at least a good
Cause,
portion of
cause
her
the
stuff.
the way, like, she said it, she's like, "This is a film that didn't do very well," and
Oh,
it
okay.
kinda made me chuckle a little, but, like, then you look at it and you would do a close up, and it's just very like, the framing on some of these scenes with these 2 actors, and it's just like, this is then they pan out, and you see the structure built with this film reel, and you're like, that's her life." That's kind of, that's a really artistic way of saying like this is the house that I built with what I was given.
Yeah. And I just that was so beautiful to see happen, and just I don't know, man. It's just what's it called? This documentary to me felt like a way of recounting, career, life, love, and just all these things. And I think what was even more beautiful was the stuff with her grandchildren and her like her kids, and just
Yeah.
like she's like, oh, I feel so connected to them because this is like my
And
blood,
and
but
her
like I
going
don't know him.
well, and her going back to these villages she shot her movies at and literally finding these kids, like they were literally kids in these movies. They were like what, 8 or 9 or some shit. And then
Yeah,
they're like 60. These are like 50, 60-year-old dudes, and she's going back and having them like, kind of recreate how they were in her previous movies. The one where she finds these kids and there was this, I guess she had the father, and they
yeah,
didn't have any moving images of him, and they literally recreate kind of going through the streets with him, and there's a projector of him when he was in her film, and it was like, well, that was wow. That was, you know she really went all out just to give these kids of this man who was in her movie like what she could
yeah,
give.
yeah. um and just I mean, like I said, y'all, it's a beautiful portrayal of everything that makes Agnès, and it's how it's like it's interesting to see her recount her work, like saying like, oh, like this is why I made this, and like this is why I made that. And it's like I know she was talking about like one of her films where they like steal her book, and she's like steal her art book, and then she like immediately goes into like, I had to like get used to living in the man's world, and man's what's it called, thing. It's like I had to like quickly find a way to lose my virginity because that was something really important when you're living inside a man's world. And it was just like this is like it makes you think about like a lot of things about Cleo from 5 to 7, and just like how much Agnes is kind of talking about herself in there too. And it's just I was just left surprised throughout this whole documentary, and seeing her like kind of approach an actual like documentary, like straight up documentary movie for her,
Hmm.
not like Vagabond, where she's kind of treading the lines between narrative and documentary. But I thought it was fantastic. I've never seen Faces Places, though I have seen one specific scene from Faces Places. And it's because, well, of course, if y'all didn't know, Jean-Luc Godard was a dick. But yeah,
Whatever.
rest in peace, Godard. He did die this year, but
But
um,
apparently, she that was like one of her first gigs was just following him and
yeah,
I guess taking photographs.
yeah, Godard was an ass sometimes, and in Faces Places, he does something to what's it called, to Agnes that is what's it
But
called?
but let's be real here. When you think of directors, you generally don't get the Kevin Smiths of the world. You
No,
generally get the Stanley Kubricks of the world.
yeah, I like I said, I seen that scene, like Godard shouldn't have done that, and it was really asshole of him to do. And I would just hope that in the 2 years in between that movie and Agnes's death, that he had the chance to, like, what's it called, talk to her and apologize for what he did, because it's a really asshole thing he does. But we're gonna watch Faces Places this month, so you'll
So
see
I'm
what
gonna be
I'm
able to
talking.
tell the major scene of this when it comes up. I'm gonna be able to be like, well, that was kind of a dick move.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, I love this movie. This was a really interesting documentary. I love everything that she, like, kind of like, so because like everything's kind of scattered, but she connects it all really interestingly. Like, the last thing I'll bring up, like the stuff with the uncle. Like, the uncle was really interesting. Like, oh, I didn't know who this dude was, so I made a movie about him.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck it, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, you know, I think overall this is a good documentary, and just that it makes you want to watch her other movies. It makes
yeah,
you want to watch her like cinematic releases,
yeah,
just because like her reminiscing of it kind of brings you like, I wonder what those movies are like. Some of this stuff looks really good. I want to see some of this. And I
yeah,
even want to see like some of the failures she said she had, because those are always interesting on like why did they fail? Because we've seen movies before where they were, cinematic failures to say, but when you watch them we're like, why was this a failure? It's kind of like Taste of Cherry. Taste of Cherry is like one of our favorite movies we've ever
yeah,
reviewed on this show. It is probably easily top 10, top 15 of our movies. And Roger Ebert gave it like 1.5 stars.
yeah,
I don't get it, but
yeah. So, Brad, what are you gonna go ahead and give your final verdict? Final verdict on this film?
this was like a good documentary. Like, and it makes me interested. So I'm waffling between like an 8.5 to 9. Fuck it, Agnes or yeah, Agnes deserves
Agnes,
it. I'm
Agnes,
giving it
yeah.
a 9. 9 out of 10.
I'm right there with you, Brad. This is a 9 out of 10. Beautiful movie. It's personal art. The only art that should exist in this world is art that's really personal. And yeah, this was beautiful to watch happen. And I'm excited to see where we go next, because next week we're looking at our final film.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking
we
forward to.
Yeah, we know how to
Yeah,
choose them, right?
you
We know
start
how
you
to
start with the
schedule them.
documentary and then the final, and then we'll jump back and forth. But I hope we have more of her films throughout the years. Now that
Oh
I
yeah,
know about her, and
yeah,
then it makes me want, like, she's mentioned so many names. It makes me want to go watch like some of Demi's movies, and
oh yeah,
go watch more of Godard, and like just these names she's throwing out there, because like the French New Wave, I have literally
yeah.
little to no
Well,
idea about. We've
we've only
touched
seen
on it.
one director. We only seen one
Yeah,
director from the French New Wave, and we watched one movie from him.
yeah,
Francois Truffaut with the 400 Blows. And
which was really fucking good.
yeah, but like we've never talked about Godard. I've seen but not plenty of Godard. I think that's another director I've seen two from. I've seen Contempt, and I've seen two or three things I know about her. Um, we haven't talked Eric Romer. We haven't talked. Well, we're talking about that now.
Well, and
Um,
and in this movie, she literally shows like the French New Wave in like a square with like, and you're
yeah,
like, I think Godard might have been in the middle, or she was in the middle. You just had like all these. There were like what, like 12 people on that goddamn thing.
yeah. It was Godard. It was Romer, Varda, Truffaut, Chabrol. Um, and there was this other dude that she talked about who I can never remember his name correctly, but she brought him up in the fucking thing.
Demi was on there.
No, Demi was later. Um, but it was this other dude. What's his freaking name? Um,
Like, and I just learned more on the French New Wave. It's like I didn't realize it was like I think it was Godard going around and be like, "Who can make movies for fucking cheap?"
yeah,
I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm gonna make a studio and it's gonna make
yeah,
fucking cheap movies that are good.
yeah. So Jean-Luc Godard, Alain Renoir, yeah, Alain Renoir, Agnès Varda, André Bazin, Jacques Demy, François Truffaut, Eric Romer, Claude Chabrol, and Jacques Rivet. Jacques Rivet, yeah. Those are the big ones, big major figures. But yeah, no, but the thing, bro, like, and Chris Marker. I'm sorry, Chris Marker. That's who she brought up in the documentary, Chris Marker. Um, but dude, it's
And
true because like all of
like
it was.
all these dudes died before she did, right? They were like all gone.
Well, no, Godard literally passed this year.
Okay.
Um, but like Jacques Demy died before her. Um, Chris Marker died in 2012. Yep. Um, Alan Renoir died in 2014. Yeah, most of them died before her.
Yeah. Well,
Jacques.
and what Demi died really young at 59.
Yeah, I think he had cancer.
No,
No,
so when it originally came out was cancer, and then
it was AIDS. Yeah, it
it
was.
was AIDS.
Yeah, which was another really hard part about this movie, where she was like talking about how, oh, it was taboo to talk about that he had AIDS, and he just stayed quiet about it, and it's
Well, in
like,
the 80s it was.
yeah, it's like,
And
yeah,
then and they don't want like that to come down on him and or his legacy people to,
yeah,
be that way back in the 80s.
yeah. Yeah, it looks like all of them died before her. Well, Bazin died in 58. Motherfucker was born in 1918. Yeah. Um, and of course, you can't forget French New Wave director Michel Labe. Shut up, bro.
I don't think Michael Bay can make a movie for less than like 20 million. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest here.
yeah. All of them died except for Godard. Godard was the only one who lived past um,
You
her.
know,
Her
just when you're that mean and full of piss and vinegar, it takes a long time to
yeah.
kill you.
Oh, Truffaut was another one who died young, like 52 years old. Yeah, forgot. Yeah, Truffaut died at 52. All right. Well, that's been our review of the Beaches of Agnès. And of course, we're going to continue on next week with another one of her films. We're going to see her final movie uh, because we know how to schedule these movies.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey, it flips how the coin flips.
Yeah. Um, so, yeah, it flips how it flips, right, Brad? So next week, we're going to be talking about Varda by Agnès. And then the following week, we're going to do Kung Fu Master, which is a movie she did with Jane Birkin.
With the best title ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're going to end the month on the public feed with Jacques Denat. And then our Patreon mini is Faces Places. So excited for that. But this Thursday, we are going to look at Park Chan-wook's new film and South Korea's official submission for Best International Feature at the 95th Oscars. Decision to Leave. So yeah, we're ready for that one. I've been waiting to watch this one for a while now, and we've been waiting to talk about it because I watched it at the MFH. So without further ado, of course, we want to thank everybody who was in chat today, which was literally just Stacy. So thanks, Stacy.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. I know. We want to thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you to our Patreon supporters for making this happen. And of course, if you would like to become part of the Patreon, all you need to do is go to www.patreon.com/thenerdcore, CORPS. That is on the bottom. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's on the scroller right here. Of course, www.patreon.com/thenerdcore. Of course, we want to thank our producers and our writers. Brad, where can they find our executive producer, Shane?
You can follow our friend Shane at twitch.tv/XSRK or on Twitter at ThriftedIL or go buy something from the Suppy God at Prison City Vintage in Illinois.
Yep. Go show the Suppy God his the love for him. Yeah. Oh, we didn't have no writers, so that's it, man. Thank you to Shane,
Thanks,
man.
Shane.
Thanks, Shane. Um, of course, you can always be part of the executive producer tier by going to the $15 tier on patreon.com/nerdcore. Clicking on that, sign up. You get all that wonderful stuff. All right. Without further ado, Brad, we'll see them on Thursday when we talk about Decision to Leave. But in the meantime, send them out.
Right, Raul. Thank you for being a host as always. Thank you to all those who joined us in chat today. That means you, Stacy. Thank you. Thank you to all our listeners out there, all our Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. And in this episode, I'm just going to say, if I make it to 80, I'm making a documentary too. Young Yoda out.
Fuck it, man. Me too. I'll join you for that.
Yep.
That's funny that you think these streams have a script.